Listen, this size does not matter. It really doesn't, but we all know in our heads it does. That size does, it shouldn't, but it does affect our brains, and that is unfortunate. Hi, and welcome back to The Deck and the Burbs. I'm back. Today's episode is going to be a continuation of the episode I did on why bra shopping is so hard. I asked in that episode if you would be interested in seeing another episode expanding upon why clothes shopping in general for women is so hard, and that's what I'm going to cover today. So I had a few more things I wanted to talk about, or maybe rant about a little bit when shopping for women's clothes, and hopefully a few suggestions on how to make it easier. A lot of these topics I came up with on my own or with my own experience, but my friend Barbara did give me some ideas to discuss in this episode, and I also found an article by The Guardian, which is a UK publication, that is why women's clothing sizes don't measure up. So I'm gonna refer to them a couple times too. One of the things I mentioned in my bra shopping episode was the Soma size chart, that I was so confused by the Soma size chart because they had you take your underbust measurement, which seemingly is where the band would go, and then they had you add 2 inches for no real reason. So they're not the only brand who does that. There's Madewell is my favorite brand of jeans. I'm wearing them today, but I hadn't bought Madewell in a few years since I gained weight. So I looked at the size chart again when they were having a sale, and I'm like, okay, what size am I at Madewell right now? Because I have no idea. I really have no idea. I found my waist measurement, which is 34.5 inches. And I looked across and I'm like, okay, what size would I be then? They recommended I buy size 32 jeans. Like, why? Why? I mean, yeah, it's a smaller number, so it makes me feel a little bit better, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, you don't, if it was a man shopping for pants, they know their waist measurement, they know their inseam measurement, and they can just go with it. Like, they are gonna know that that's going to transfer to any, hopefully, I guess, any brand of pants that they are going to look for in the store. On that note, like, vanity sizing has become a problem. As I said in the Guardian article I was referring to, every store gets to set their own sizes because every store uses different fit models. And of course, every woman has a differently shaped body. So maybe the women do all have the same waist measurement, but they have different hips, you know, stuff like that. So things are gonna fit differently, different places. For example, I have a hard time shopping at LL Bean because apparently their fit models do not have hips, I found. But now brands are accounting for that more often. So they have curvy sizes, they have plus sizes, they have talls, they have petites, and all these different types of sizes are going to make it easier for you to shop. So I do try to shop at clothing stores that do have those options for me. But any woman who shops for clothing knows that a 14 is not the same at every store. And you kind of just have to learn going in, like, okay, I'm an Old Navy 14, I'm a Bowden 12, and then I'm like this other brand 16. And it's really frustrating. It's really frustrating when you go in and think you know what size you are, but nothing's fitting. I had that experience in Zara in 2022, October 2022, when I went to Cleveland for the writer's retreat. I went into a Zara, and what you should know about me at the time is that I was the skinniest and the most in shape, not just the skinniest, the most in shape, probably arguably the healthiest I have ever been in my adult life. In some places I could fit into a size 10, which I hadn't seen since I had gotten married in 2009. Otherwise I was a 12. So I was grabbing stuff from Zara and taking it into the fitting room after losing all this weight and feeling really good about my accomplishments, and finding things were still tight in like 10s and 12s. And I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. I'm not gonna put on a 14 here when I just came from 14 6 months ago. You know, this was so frustrating. So I left that Zara fitting room feeling really down about myself. I wanted to take a moment to touch on sizing because, as I mentioned before, I have lost a bit of weight recently, and I don't know what size I am in some things. And that's cool and everything, but it's also kind of discouraging. So I am leaving the mall discouraged today. It happens to me too. You are not alone. Even though I had this huge, great accomplishment, hitting my goal weight, even surpassing my goal weight, but I couldn't feel good about that because I was still trying on bigger clothes. Now listen, this size does not matter. It really doesn't, but we all know in our heads it does. That size does, it shouldn't, but it does affect our brains, and that is unfortunate. Years later, I have learned that some clothes at Zara just run that way. Zara has a line of smaller fitting clothes, and Zara has different lines in their store of like bigger fitting clothes. But that was like the first time I had ever been in a Zara, so I had no idea about this. I thought the problem was me, and I just thought I wouldn't be able to wear that brand. But I've now bought other things from Zara, and I can. It just depends. It just depends on which section of the store I'm shopping from. And I guess it's kind of the same at H&M. I know the divided line at H&M is for like teens. The divided line is junior sizing. So it's possible I would need to size up in that line. There's no standards, and the only place you're gonna find measurements is the size chart. So you're going to have to check the size chart and check the reviews, which is the same thing I said in the bra shopping episode. That's all you can do. And be willing to return stuff and try not to let it get you down. In this Guardian article, the author was saying how she has a pretty good self-esteem. So clothing sizes really don't affect her that much. But for those of us who don't, I mean, and it varies. Like some days I have high self-esteem days and I'm like, the number doesn't matter as long as it fits, which is true, by the way. But on some days, even when I was the skinniest I've ever been, it didn't matter because I wasn't happy with myself in the head. So when something went wrong with my clothes, I was blaming myself instead of the clothes, instead of the broken system, stuff like that. Just the variations in the fit models and the variations even within the store, it makes it very, very hard to shop for clothes and very, very discouraging. And speaking of discouraging, this is the point my friend Barbara brought up. Many times if you buy stuff online, you may find that what you're seeing on the model isn't going to look like that on you. So you'll buy the thing, liking how it looks on the size 2 model, but maybe I get it home on my size 12, 16, mid-size body and realize that I do not like how it looks on me. And that comes with experience too. You figure out over time what styles work and what styles don't. But I just had this situation recently. I actually rented this vest, and I will talk about that on an upcoming episode. So if you do want to hear more about that, definitely hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be telling you all about the rental experience. But I love vests, and I really liked how this looked on the model, but I don't know if you can see in this video, but it's quite gapy. And it flattens out my chest. So I don't even know if ladies with a little more well-endowed can wear stuff like this. I don't know if stores sell stuff like this for people shaped like me. I don't know, because I really like what it's doing to my waist, but I cannot handle what is going on in the bust situation. It's not good. So that was a really big bummer because I was excited about trying this out, and I'm still making it work, but I can't really wear it in public. It's not gonna work. In an environment where online shopping is so prevalent, having models that are different sizes helps so much. Many websites do show a straight size model and then show a plus size model, but sometimes even with the plus size models, it's actually a mid-size girl trying this stuff on and not an actual plus size girl. So that's not really helping anyone. Even when I was like a fiction author, I was a huge believer in the fact that representation matters, and representation matters in online shopping too, because you want to be able to see yourself in those clothes so that you know if they're going to work for your body and your lifestyle. It's not completely necessary. I mean, when you're buying clothes a lot, you figure out what works on you and what doesn't. Like I know certain fabrics are gonna look clingy on my stomach, so I don't do that. So I don't buy stuff like that. I know right now I prefer more structure or prefer more relaxed fit. Yeah, so things like that. Representation matters. That's some issues with sizing. And then to make it more complicated, there are certain differences in women's clothing that men don't have to deal with. Most of the time. I will say another thing Barbara and I discussed was pockets. Pockets are a big issue in women's clothing because either they're not there, sometimes they're fake pockets, or sometimes they're so small that they have rendered themselves useless because you can't fit in anything into the pocket. Like I have jeans where my phone sticks out this much. Like that's not helpful. That's gonna fall right out. But I say almost just women's clothes because my husband I almost got him to buy a pair of Madewell jeans. Actually, we did buy these pair of Madewell jeans and he liked them. They looked great on him. And then he went to put his phone in his pocket, and these men's Madewell jeans had women's size pockets for some reason. So his phone was sticking out and he didn't like that, and we had to get rid of the jeans. If you're gonna make a pocket, at least just make it a functional pocket, whether it's on men's clothes or women's clothes. People like pockets, man. Oh, I didn't even check. Oh, there are pockets in these. Actually, this is a pretty good size pocket. Wow, check that out. Not for nothing, this is a good size pocket. There are some design choices that I feel like men would never put up with. Like zippers you can't reach. I know that's a problem sometimes. I have seen tools for that where you can like attach something to the zipper and be able to pull it up yourself. But then how do you get the thing off that you attach to it? I don't actually know how that works. And also, this is not exactly related to clothing, it's related to accessories, but like bracelet and necklace clasps. There's a bracelet. I'm trying to kind of, I would have put it on today, but I didn't. I'm trying to hone in on my signature style. I just watched, sorry, a little tangent. I finally watched the documentary on Diane von Furstenberg. But one of the things she does is she wears like the same jewelry, at least the same bracelets with everything she was wearing in like every shot they showed of her over a span of many years. So I would like to get to the point where I find signature jewelry. That Pandora bracelet I just got on my Vegas trip, I'm like, that could be a signature piece, but it is so hard to get on. That little teeny tiny clasp that I can only put on by myself if I like the trick that I found online. Usually, I mean, either you can use like a bobby pin or I have to use a safety pin because it's so small. I like hold the safety pin here. So I'm like holding the bracelet clasp and then maybe pry it open with my finger and then try to like catch the little, it's just so much work. Like, would men ever stand for that? Something so putsy? I don't know. I doubt it. Wouldn't they give up? I mean, men wear bracelets. Are men's bracelet clasps as fussy? I want to go find out now. I think those are all the points I wanted to cover though. If you want to rant about women's clothing sizes, definitely do that down in the comments. Let's sound off together. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and consider subscribing because I have content similar to this coming up, and of course more reviews and tips to make sizing easier for me and you and all of us. So consider subscribing and turning on those post notifications so you can see those videos right when they get posted. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Bedecked in the Burbs. I hope it's therapeutic for you. It was a little therapeutic for me, and I will see you next week for whatever I decide to deck out next. Bye.